welcome to another edition of Ageless Energy. Today I'm going to dive in and talk about the benefits of quality collagen. I will stress quality multiple times, and I'm going to explain to you the difference. Here we are. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Okay. Collagen. How you doing out there? Hope you are enjoying your day, whatever day it may be that you're checking this out. We're live right now on our Facebook group, facebook.com/Ageless Energy. And we're also going to put this up on some other platforms, possibly YouTube and or Spotify as a podcast. So regardless of where you're at, thanks for tuning in. If you're not sure who I am, my name is Drew Tadia, founder and CEO of True Form Life. For the past 20 years, we've been helping women increase energy, burn body fat, and balance hormones, usually around the 40 age range, which there is nothing wrong with. You can age gracefully like fine wine. I truly believe it. I'm joking, but I truly believe it. Morning, Angela. So, when it comes to collagen in particular, I want to dive in and tell you about the benefits. I want to talk about the uses. I'll tell you about the differences and answer any questions live that you may have. So, when it comes to collagen in particular, I think it's worth mentioning, or at least starting off with, not all collagens are created equally. So this is one of the main reasons why it took us a couple of years to get in on the collagen bandwagon as a supplement company. And it's not something, I don't really like to participate in mainstream anything, but it was apparent that this was something that our audience wanted, could use, and needed, especially in this age group. But one of the biggest issues is quality. And I saw all these companies flock to the market and have their very own collagen product. But unfortunately, that's not how the supplement industry works. That was it. Morning, Mom. Unfortunately, the supplement industry is based around very low quality in general. Now, this isn't the sky's falling, be careful what you buy, it's dangerous. I'm not going to do any of that. I just wanted to tell you the truth, is that when you look at many supplement companies, what they usually do is white label. And white label just means it's someone else's product and they put your label on it and they say it's theirs. And I don't really think there's anything wrong with that in particular, but if you look at many whey protein companies, so they will choose a very cheap manufacturer, and that's usually overseas, and they usually choose the cheapest quality ingredients because it makes it cheaper to produce. And in most cases, when you're ordering, let's say a protein supplement, you're ordering protein, you have to order it in mass quantities because otherwise they won't produce it, or they don't want to work with the little guy. I had a really hard time coming up ordering from any manufacturer, because if you weren't ordering 10,000 units with $50,000 to $100,000 budget, they're not going to talk to you. They're not going to work with you, which makes what we're doing very unique. Take a lot of time and effort and grind and hard work to make this happen, but I think it's worth knowing. It's worth knowing where your products are coming from, where you're manufactured, and on top of that, it's not that unique. If you go and buy a mainstream, let's just say, for example, it's a mainstream protein product from Costco, that company usually produces the exact same product for dozens of other supplement companies. You just haven't heard of them. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that the ingredients are usually really low quality. They're not all that beneficial to your health. They put tons and tons into marketing, which is why they're in Costco. And their margins they have bigger margins because the quality of their product costs so little to create. So if you have a protein supplement that costs $5 per bucket to make, let's say, because they're ordering 10,000 units, and the manufacturer can give them a lower rate because they're ordering so much, they're going to make more, right? I think it's math or business. Then you can bring a product to Costco and give them a huge margin and sell tons of product, and everyone makes money. That's how it goes. That's how the industry is, but it doesn't mean the quality of the product is clean. And it usually doesn't mean the product, the quality, or the product isn't theirs. And I said, that's okay. We have some unique products, like our protein is very unique. I don't know. Like we worked with a manufacturer to help create this product and we found it, and this manufacturer was selling our product to other companies, which is fine. That's part of the industry. But those companies stopped buying the protein because I don't know if they couldn't sell it or if the business went out. So the manufacturer says, we're not going to make your product anymore. We were having smaller batches. I'm going to get back to collagen. I know I'm a little bit side tangent. We're only 5 minutes in. Relax. So the manufacturer said, we're not going to give you smaller batches because we were brand new. We had been selling this product for years. So I negotiated a quarter batch. I negotiated half a batch. And then the manufacturer said they tried to sell us a different product and we didn't want it. And they said, we're not going to make this product anymore. And I said, you have to. Our customers love it. So they said, then you have to order a whole batch. And a whole batch is $30,000 plus almost more than we can sell before they expire in 2 years. So that's just the behind the scenes of what it's like to actually work with manufacturers and have products that are more so your own than masses like ordering. Ours is from Canada, but most of these companies are from overseas, and you don't know what the regulations are like. That's all well and good. There's this business coach that I follow. I like him, but he probably spends 75% of his time talking about what other coaches are doing or what they shouldn't be doing, and very little about what he's doing. It's an odd concept, and I'm not a fan of that. I don't really believe we have competition, which is probably an odd mindset to run a business. I would suggest that we focus on ourselves and not worry about what everyone else is doing, and that's what we do. And I feel like we found success that way in doing that. But when it came to collagen, everyone was asking, can you bring in collagen? This was a handful of years ago when it like just hit the market, and I was like, so I started doing research and I started to dive in, and it just wasn't super interesting to me because of the ethical morals thought process behind it. The animals usually aren't treated well. I looked at all kinds of different. You have the like collagen from a egg membrane would be probably the most extreme. Your collagen from fish. And then a lot of times like that's marine collagen, and they'll say that collagen is ethically sourced. I hardly believe that. Like usually they sweep the ocean and destroy the ecosystems to get the fish that they want. So there's like most of the marine collagen companies do that, and if they don't, they use the extract. I don't know, like the bones and the skull and the which may be fine, but I also believe that they probably don't just use the extract. I imagine they're probably, this is me just projecting, I'm just guessing. Just didn't seem like a place I wanted to be in. Like ethically, I love animals. I'd love to do something for whether it's turtles, whales, or dolphins when I grow up, like a nonprofit type of thing. So it didn't align with me to get into marine collagen, which was the closest to Canadian sourced. And then most of it, like beef, bovine, it's all overseas. And then most of the time, the actual manufacturer wants to put junk in it because it makes their product last longer. There's more volume. They can sell more of it. And then you have to look at the flavor, the taste, smell. Like often to process it, they put chemicals and junk in there that I don't agree with. Even I would suggest those aren't even listed on the label, or maybe they don't legally have to do that. And then you have to look like they use ammonia to hide the taste and smell. And then you have those big companies, I like Obvi. Let's not name names, but they have the term collagen as like a weight loss. So they put like something like ashwagandha in there, and then they put a bunch of cheap fillers and flavoring that are toxic. Like they'll put in sucralose, maltodextrin, silicone dioxide. So you maybe have a decent product depending on how it's processed. And then they put a bunch of junk in it for marketing purposes. So it tastes better, looks better, smells better because they don't use ammonia, or maybe because they don't use chemicals to remove the smell. So they have to use chemicals on the back end instead of the front end, like the manufacturing part of it. I'm not sure. It's not really like I'm just telling you why we didn't initially get into it. And then I was working with a company right here in Canada, and I don't want to say they produce, because they bring it in, they can be considered a Canadian product, but for MCT oil, ours come from Sri Lanka. Like obviously we don't have coconuts in Canada. Natively grown. Maybe we'll have a indoor, inside palm tree growth area sometime in the future when no one's allowed to go outside. We all live in 15-minute cities. Don't worry, I'm not going to get political on you. Just having a little fun this morning. But so our MCT oil comes from Sri Lanka from a Canadian company. So this Canadian company presented me with an organic collagen. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. I haven't really heard of organic collagen. And from what I know, I don't believe there's another Canadian company like ours that's selling collagen or that's selling organic collagen. That's number one. And then I think there's very few in the US that's selling organic collagen. And the reason I'm not like a huge organic fan, like organic everything. I really like the Dirty Dozen. That's like the 12 different. If you want that PDF, just ask. I'll send it over. But the 12 fruits and veggies that are highly sprayed, I would suggest staying away from those in particular. But you have to look at, and then of course, to get the organic label, I'd rather buy from local farmers that can't afford to be certified as organic. That's just how I am. That's just how I feel. And everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But that's why I'm not huge, like huge organic. But when you look at a company this size and a manufacturer that brings the product, like ethically sources the product, and then manufacturers, like our manufacturer actually has a unique process that I don't know anyone else uses. And it completely takes away chemicals, the stripping of the nutrients, like many things that you look at that are produced at high level. Like you could look at oil. Like usually oils are like pasteurized, let's say, at such a high temperature, they lose the value. It's the same thing as milk. Like they in the pasteurization, they burn off all the enzymes that your body needs, and then they make raw milk illegal, at least in Canada. I think it's different or different states in the U.S., but regardless, that's what you're dealing with in a collagen industry or a supplement industry. And we have a manufacturer that's very different. And I truly believe we have the cleanest collagen on the market, but certainly the cleanest organic. Like I said, I don't know if there's any Canadian companies selling organic because it costs more. It costs us way more. That's what I was talking about cost. Like the raw product alone costs us way more than a cheap product that we could outsource from overseas. So there's companies that sell our same product, like a very similar collagen product. They'll well, I guess they won't say that it's organic. Some people don't care, but I think most people don't care, but they'll bring it overseas and they'll put all these marketing behind it. They'll put all the non-GMO, what do they call it? I don't know. There's a term for it, like farm to table. There's like a hide to something way to say it, and they'll charge the same price, but it's a really low quality product. So I think it's super important for you to read ingredients and then figure out where your products are sourced from. And if you guys want any of our marketing, like it's called the certificate of analysis from our collagen company, we can send that to you. But most people aren't interested in that. It's not that, just a bunch of numbers and stamps, which quite honestly could be made up. That's just the industry, unfortunately. But I'm proud. Like I'm super proud. Like if we had a super product, collagen would be one of them. Of course, liquid mag's at the top there. And then we have a really nice MCT oil, our protein, and our bath flakes. They're all sell really well. They're all at the top of our list. But collagen in particular stands out because I feel like the industry is so bombarded with low quality. We're like a diamond in the rough when it comes to collagens. And then you can look at liquid collagens. You can look at multi-level companies. I looked at many of them. I've looked at many of their ingredients. And I'm not going to say to stay away from them, or I'm not going to say there's something wrong with all of them, but I found very few companies that I would agree with or support when it comes to any supplements at all, really. So if you look at ours, if you take ours, for example, it does have a smell. So sometimes I'll say there's no smell, there's no taste, it dissolves in water. That's just how my brain works. But when you open the container, there's a smell. So I want to be clear with that because I don't want people to think there's something wrong with it. So actually someone wrote in, they're like, hey, there's a smell to this collagen. There's something wrong with it. And I said, oh, my apologies. I meant when it goes into coffee, when it goes into tea, when it hits the liquid, when you put it in your shaker cup, there's no taste, there's no aftertaste, there's no chalky, there's no chemical taste. There's nothing like once it hits something, and that's just how it's produced. And then many collagens they cake just because of the agents and because of the whether it's emulsifiers or preservatives that they put in with their collagen, it cakes to the side. And I actually had someone write in. They said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know that collagen was produced that doesn't cake when you put it in something." So this is the Smurf. This is the. She told me, this is the first smooth collagen coffee I've ever had that didn't cake. She said, I thought they all did. She only tried a couple of brands, and then she tried ours, and ours dissolved instantly in her coffee. And that's just how it works. A lot of people just don't know. You don't know what you don't know, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's why I'm here explaining this kind of stuff. So the dissolving the taste and the flavor are usually what stand out to people. And then again, like I said, unfortunately, many companies that don't have the flavor, there's a reason for it. They're either covering it up on the front end with flavorings, usually toxic, or on the back end with chemicals to basically kill the smell, which will then obviously kill nutrients. But collagen is something I really believe in, like for many different reasons. Like hair and nails, obviously, like top of the list aesthetically. My nails literally feel stronger and they feel like they grow quicker. I think this age group, like of course I take all our supplements, but even though our audience is women 40 plus, like hair is certainly important as you age. Wrinkles as well. A collagen can help return elasticity to your skin, which is obviously important. And then for me, like as an active person, it's the joints. It's the preservation of the joints that collagen can offer on top of that. Because a lot of women that we work with have back or knee pain. That can certainly be a problem or a continual problem, especially to be active. And then to level that up, you have collagen really helps with digestion. It helps with the gut lining. So a lot of women in particular have leaky gut syndrome and they don't even know it, which makes it worse. But digestion, I'm reading this book called Breathe, and it is absolutely amazing. It blows me away how beneficial it is to breathe through your nose. And the reasons, like throughout history, like, he goes in and shows you how our faces are changing from years ago when we would breathe through our nose regularly. Like our nose cavities are changing, our teeth aren't fitting in our mouth. So then there's a reason, like, we're pulling out molars because our jaws are getting smaller. And all of that from his research is based around your breathing, which is so incredibly interesting to me. And then I'm only just started, but I just hit this part about the benefits of breathing through your nose, even through external activity. That was one of my first thoughts. I was like, if you're only breathing through your nose, what if you're working out extra hard and there's this guy that he's working with, he's doing this experiment together of actually plugging your nose and like only breathing through your mouth, and everything is affected. Their sleep, their mood, their brain function, their blood pressure, you name it. It's negatively affected by only breathing through your mouth. Of course, most people don't do that, but he's very clear and he talks about all of these ailments across like how many everyone has allergies now. I think that has to do with air condition, what's happening in the sky, water pollution. I think it's all connected, but this one here in particular is talking about just breathing through your nose and the benefits of closing your mouth even at night. And I believe this is probably where the taping your mouth came from. Some of you, I'm sure many of you heard about the benefits of taping your mouth when you sleep. I'm not talking about duct tape. There's actually anyways, I'm getting slightly off tangent here and I lost my train of thought. But when it comes to, I was talking about the digestion and the leaky gut syndrome, the digestion, that collagen can actually help heal that gut lining, which is super interesting. Oh, I was saying like so many women in particular, like they have digestion issues. And I feel like it's just become normal. Like you hit 40, 50, you just have the natural mental belly, the bloat, the rolls or the love handles. That's just has become okay, but I don't think it has to. Like that starts with activity, nutrition, and digestion, your gut microbiome, that gut bacteria that we need. So that's how I link this breathing. There's a reason that we are formed the way we are and have all the continual breathing issues. And I've had many of my own over the years that I'd like to move on from and get improved, but it's the same thing with digestion. And collagen is something that can definitely help. Just to, before I wrap things up, a few things of uses for collagen in particular. I would consider using collagen in, you can use it in your coffee, you can use it in your tea, you can put in your shake, you can put in your smoothie. And there's two differences there. Shake is not in a blender without fruit or veggies. Shake is basically milk or water, so your liquid, and a scoop of protein, a scoop of collagen. Done. That's the simplest way to get collagen and protein into your body, especially in the morning where many women just don't have that opportunity or don't take that opportunity, I should say. You could use collagen in soups, and then, which is interesting, a lot of people don't think of that. You can also use collagen in elixirs, which I'm a big fan of. So, one of my favorite current evening elixirs is chicory root tea, great for digestion. And then you have, I put a little sweetener in there. So I put a stevia in there, or I put a touch of maple syrup or honey, very minimal. And then I put a scoop of collagen. I put a dash of cinnamon, and I have the chicory root tea, and that's it. And that's my evening elixir. Sometimes I do that in the morning. I'm gonna put a post about this, about that recipe here in this group, and you're more than welcome to join our Facebook group if you like, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, or even subscribe to our Spotify wherever you're watching. Let's see. Graham said there's a study about swimmers and their face shape as you have to breathe through your mouth. Oh gosh, I bet there is. That is super interesting. Thanks for bringing that up. I bet that it's like a whole new world. I think like when you find out new information, I just want more. Like I'm in this really like big learning kick. I just want to learn everything. And I'm working on new skills and to the point of exhaustion. So instead of going to sleep earlier or instead of watching TV, I'm learning how to build an app, to be honest with you, which I'm very excited about, which with the technology we have now today was never possible even a couple of years ago, maybe a couple months ago. I don't know. I just heard about this. I'm learning how to create graphics and storytell with AI. Like it's amazing what we can learn these days. But when I read something like Breathe, like that is it's I my mom actually got that book. Got me that book. Thanks, mom. But it was like let's say 20 or 30 bucks. Just for example, it doesn't matter, but that investment can change your whole perspective. So now I'm like, okay, what's true about knees? Because I don't think we should have so much knee pain later in life. Same thing with hips. Like, why do so many of us have back issues? And I'm like, there's got to be either more research or I feel like someone must have taken a deep dive and we just haven't thought about it. We haven't heard about it. Someone hasn't researched about it until it's brought to life. And I just feel like it's an exciting world we're in, that we have so much opportunity to learn and develop new skills. That's the bridge, right? So many people know, like, how many times a day do I hear, oh, I know what I should be doing, I just don't do it. That's not, everyone knows. Now, with AI and with so much information being brought to the table, it's not about, which that has nothing to do with anything anymore, because everyone knows everything, or at least technology does. It's about the human connection. That's A, and it's about actually teaching sustainable, actionable steps that will get you a result. So think about that for a moment because a lot of people will say, I know what supplements to take. I know what workouts to do. I know what food I should stay away from, but it doesn't mean anything. Just consider that because if you say I know, that just immediately blocks your ability to progress. You could hear it from someone that if you have anyone in your life that you try to tell them something or you try to teach them something, they always say, I know. Oh, I know that. Oh, I know. Yeah, I knew that. That is just a limiting belief, and they have a very small ability to learn more things, which I think is a very difficult place to be. If you're not, if you, maybe not everyone wants to grow or progress in life or evolve, but if you do and you know everything, that's going to be very difficult. I don't know who someone way smarter than me said some quote along the lines of, "The more I know, or the more I learn, the less I know." Super interesting, right? Lifeline networking Thursdays. Mike will be there next week. Okay. Thanks for that. Little plug for you there, Grant. Thanks for joining live. If you have any questions, drop them below. Happy to answer live or the replay, and regardless of what platform that is. Wishing you a wonderful day, evening, weekend. Catch you soon.